Welcome to my channel. To motivate myself to participate in mermaid and to start coloring mermaids, it may be to motivate you to join me, I decided to make a review of all my colored pictures with mermaids. Unfortunately, I don't have my books with me, but on my laptop I have pictures of finished works, so I decided to make a slideshow. The first work which I want to share with you is from Braille coloring book. It's a good book where you can use any pencils you want to or any paint, and I was asked to make almost a copy of the original painting which was shown in the end of the book, so color choice was easy, but it wasn't easy to do such beautiful color transitions with colored pencils. When I color tails of the mermaids, I always try to show that they are shiny, that scales are colorful, and here I learned a lot of things. How you can use various colors together with green, together with gold to show such shiny scales. And the other thing which I usually found very challenging is how to make transition from the tail of the mermaid to the body, especially when we don't have some decoration or some parts of the clothes on the picture. Here on the picture of Marty Noble, which I want to show you now, usually they have some kind of jewelry, so it's easy to divide body from the tail. If picture doesn't have such a helpful element, then I try to use for some of the color accents on the tail a little bit of peach or pink or gold, and in such way it will help me to make transition to light or dark skin tone which I select to my mermaid. And also I try to incorporate some fantasy colors of the skin, so I can even add slightly greenish tint to the skin, but of course you have to be careful. With Marty Noble it's easier to color. I have one finished mermaid in her college book. I think that you can find this design also in another mermaid's book by Marty. In Creative Heaven series they have already several books with mermaids by Marty, but my favorite one is a very simple, almost children's book with mermaids. You probably know this one. I colored already two projects from it, and one mermaid is more tropical stage, and I do love the legend behind it. It was quite interesting to learn about the story and to color. I selected two pictures in totally different color schemes. One is tropical and the second one is famous mermaid from Poland. I remember that I had two reasons to start doing this design. First of all, I visited Warsaw, I visited Poland, and I really loved the statue of this mermaid, which you can find in the very center of the old city. And it's a guardian of the city. There is a beautiful legend behind it. And I think that the second reason was that I got a set of my color pencils, and I found that it has quite nice selection of various gray colors. Gray brown, gray green, gray violet, so you can clearly see them all here on the stones and on the stormy sky, so it was more for the test of pencils. I already collected a lot of mermaid books in my stash, and when I color them I try to vary colors of the tails and colors of the hair. For me it's already kind of a challenge. Of course, for me the most popular color for the tail is still blue-green and color for the hair is red, but I try to work and to vary to invent something new for each of my new mermaids. I even colored one mermaid in my Escape to Shakespeare's World. To my shame, I don't remember this part of the story that mermaid was somehow mentioned in the Midsummer Night's Dream, but I absolutely loved this design, and I think that here I combined a little bit of neocolor crayons for the background, and the rest is Prismacolor pencils. Now when I look at my designs, I notice that violet also is quite popular color for me when I color tails, especially because it can be blended very well with blue, with pink, with lavender, and with gold also. Probably one of my favorite artists who create pictures with mermaids is Selina Fennec, of course. I already colored illustration to Mermaid Fairy Tale from Fairy Tales book, and I also did one design in Mermaids book. It's quite old, and I think that Selena already published a couple of new books with mermaids, but the only picture which I did here I am absolutely proud of, mostly because of the very challenging background and quite challenging play of rays of light and dark areas on the sky, and I think that it's definitely one of my best works, especially taking into consideration that I did it with pencils only and on Selina Fennec very thin paper. My mermaids book which I miss the most, it's Mermaids by Jasmine Beckett Griffiths. It's because I own it for a couple of years already. I was crazy happy when I purchased it, but I did just one page in it and it was exactly a year ago for the last year mermaid. I promised myself that this year I will do many designs in it because apart from the beautiful, very elegant mermaids, it has a lot of beautiful fishes. Those poisson volant, they are absolutely beautiful. Unfortunately, I don't have it with me, so maybe I will have my own mermaid somewhere in October or November, or maybe during this summer. So when I reunite with my book, I definitely will do more pictures in it. The next one is My Only Mermaid by Josephine Wall. If you know this book, Enchanted Fairies, you know that designs are very complicated with a lot of details. But the book allows us to use watercolors. So for my mermaid, which is actually also was dedicated to zodiac sign of fishes, I used mostly watercolors. I don't remember if I used any of the pencils. Maybe for the tiny details of the tiny characters in the water. It was challenging. I can't say that I'm proud of this page, but I'm glad that at least I tried to color it. And of course, next slideshow is from the book by Dennis Klett. I also miss this book, but you know that paper in it is a little bit challenging for watercolors, so during all my last colorings in this book I mostly use gouache paints. So when I gathered my books and art supplies, I realized that without gouache I won't be able to do decent backgrounds, or without Inktense pencils, so I also left it behind. And I think that coloring in this book I will postpone until the summer months. But I already colored a lot of nice and cute pictures here. Some of them were with a lot of struggle, again, mostly because of the background, where I wasn't able to push my watercolors to work properly. But they are so cute. They all are in very good humor, and I absolutely love her mermaids. They are very body positive. Probably my favorite one is Lady who is reading in a very comfortable bed. I think that she's definitely my favorite. But I also love the winter mermaid with walruses because it's very original. Next one is mermaid, which I did in Kinuka craft book Myth and Magic. It's a picture which I treasured a lot, and I was quite nervous when I started to color it. I think that I already told the story how I was afraid that all those colorful seaweeds and corals, they can distract attention from the mermaid, and I wanted to make her with golden tail because she is also creating golden stars. But in the end, when I added a little bit of golden paint and a lot of white Poscan, they helped me to add some highlights to her tail, and in the end, everything looks very nice, at least for my taste, and I am proud of this work. In the books by Tomislav Tomic, so far I finished only two pictures with mermaids, and both colorings were quite complicated. The first one is good. I am not sure that I had to do such colorful fishes, but the second one was almost a disaster. It started okay when I did all those corals, but then the color of the tail which I selected for this mermaid, it started to blend up with the color of corals. And when I realized that we have huge amount of fishes here and somehow I have to limit my color palette for the fishes in order to attract attention to the mermaid, it was such a long, such a complicated coloring that from that moment and until now, I didn't gather my courage to start another project with mermaids in Tomislav books. And finally, book Fantasy Mermaids, created under brand Color Mood Books, but the artist is from Ukraine, so I am quite glad that I have this book, and for me, it's definitely one of the best. Unfortunately, it's printed on traditional thin paper, but designs are definitely one of the best. I love compositions here and many interesting details which surround mermaids. As my first picture, I selected this shipwreck mermaid. I remember how long it took me to do this background around the mermaid with colored pencils, but even on such paper, I managed to work with my budget pencils and mixing them with polychromos. It was quite possible to color. For my two next finished pictures in this book, I decided first to do underpaint with alcohol-based markers and then to work on the details with pencils, and things were much easier in such way. I finished Mermaid with Octopus in the first part of February, just before the war, and I remember that couple of days before the war I started to do underpaint for my next project. It was beautiful mermaid with seal, and I did a little bit of blue underpaint for the water with markers. Then I decided that I will return to this project in a couple of days, but the war started and this book is still waiting for me. So when I return home, I will be doing another project here and I will finish my mermaid with seals. I also have in my stash a book with mermaids by Jade Summer. I hadn't started any pictures in this part of my huge fantasy collection, but I hope that this year I definitely will color here something because I really love pirate mermaids in this book. And if you are just like me, is a collector of books with mermaids, then you definitely can look at the book by Selina Fenech. I don't own this one. It's called Mermaids and Animal Companions. Maybe one day I will purchase it. And in the newest newsletter, which Selina Fenech sent just a couple of days ago, she announced that maybe her next coloring book, which she started to create, also will be about mermaids. First, she was thinking about mermaid couples, but then she said that it will be a more wide subject. And definitely another one of the books with mermaids which I want to add to my collection, it's book by Meredith Dillman. You know that I love this artist. I colored several on her projects in my magazine, Creative Heaven. So maybe one day I will also purchase this one. Also was quite interesting in the Creative Heaven book with mermaids, but still I am not sure about this one. It looks beautiful and I do want to try this artist, but maybe for me they have too many ornaments, so maybe I will wait until the next year. But if you love to color more ornamental and less realistic mermaids, this one also looks quite nice. So that was my colored pictures with mermaids and a little bit about my tastes in books with mermaids, and I hope that still in May I will manage to participate in Mermaid and to do at least a couple of pictures. Thank you, and please share with me what are your favorite books with mermaids. Maybe I missed something.